This very important second division game this afternoon. The Keighley team just having taken the field. Fullback is Jeff Butterfield, Wayne Race, Andy Stevenson, Phil Stevenson and John Walker in the three quarters. Martin Wood and Andy Ayres at half-back, and the forwards Brendan Hill, Jason Ramshaw, Steve Hall, Ian Gately, Kevin Marr and Mark Brook-Cowden. The substitutes for Keighley this afternoon, 14 is nearly got my head blown off. Substitute 14 is Joe Burry and 15 Joe Grimmer. And for Dewsbury, the fullback Nathan Graham. Three quarters Eddie Rombo, Marcus Charles, Earl Johnson and Darren Rogers. Tony Marchant, the recent acquisition from Bradford Northern, that stand off with Mark Conway at scrum half. Paul Worthy, Neil Kelly, Gary Cox, Darren Fleary, Glenn Bell and Les Holliday, the captain. He's at loose forward. The substitutes for Dewsbury this afternoon, Andy Dickinson and Paul Worthy. The referee in the centre of the park at the moment, just explaining what he wants from everybody, is David Redfern from Huddersfield. The touch judges Mr Hargreaves and Mr Holmes, also from Huddersfield. And just wait to see who indeed has won the toss. In fact, it's Dewsbury have won the toss. They have elected to defend the hill. You remember the last twice, two occasions we've been here, Keighley have won the toss. They've defended the hill. We have to see now what happens, and Darrell, a very, very important game for both sides.
Certainly is, John. Yes, there's only 1 point between them now in the league at the present. So if Keighley win, they could open the 3-point gap. If Dewsbury win, they get the 1 point lead. So as you can see, it's nip and tuck here. Very important game this. Really, Keighley need to win this to maintain the pressure on the teams at the top.
Mr Redfern then gets the game underway. Martin Wood puts that ball down into the bottom corner of the field, taken there by Hooker Kelly, and it's Fleary making his way back to that 20-metre line before being tackled. Ball switched to the centre area of the park, but it's Gately and Ramshaw doing the tackle there for Keighley. Dewsbury coming up this slope, looking for a break towards the halfway line. Mr Redfern calls held, taking them back a good 10 metres as he does so. And there goes Gary Cox, the number 10 for Dewsbury. The ball being lost there and kicked deep. In fact, it's John Walker doing the chasing. In fact, it's a good kick and a good tackle there. That looked to be forward, but it just called to Darrell there for a decision. Darrell, that ball in the in-goal area looked to have been passed forward. Now, can you pass forward in your in-goal area?
You can't be offside in your in-goal area. But I suppose you can pass forward, John. Think about it.
And it certainly looked to be, but nonetheless, the man on the end of the ball was duly tackled over his own in-goal area. So that's a dropout, having been taken already as Wayne Race gathers the ball for Keighley, being met by a complete posse there of Dewsbury defenders, and Ramshaw switches play out to Marr. Marr just takes the ball in and settles things down. Keighley operating this afternoon with with certainly one second rower in the half backs. That's Phil Stevenson, brother Andy normally on the wing, but operating in the centre position. Gately looked to be taking the ball there, but it went out to Brendan Hill on the far side, 15 metres out from that Dewsbury line now, as Ramshaw gets the ball out on the far side to Stevenson. Andy Stevenson, that is. 10 metres now from the Dewsbury try line. Ramshaw. Ayres, and certainly taken out there, but not so, I don't think, says the referee. A lot worse than it looked. The body flew up, but I think the tackle made on the chest. And a good breakaway from defence there by Dewsbury. And a penalty for holding down. And I think Darrell, the tackle there, and Andy Ayres looking a lot worse than it was. The ooze came from the crowd, but I think it really was chest and bottom end, wasn't it?
It certainly was, John, yeah. They were not wrong the head there, not wrong with tackle, just a good tackle. Andy were running, he was trying to back the tackle. He just swung around a little bit, out in it.
Penalty safely into touch then as a tap restart takes place, 30 metres out from that Dewsbury line, and they make another 10 metres before being tackled. Just dodging behind a couple of players there, searching and looking, and in fact finding Holliday there in the centre of the area, but Holliday well wrapped up by his opposite number Mark Brook-Cowden. And Ian Gately there, equal to that run from opposite number Cox. Ball going out there, the kick coming up, the left boot applied to the ball there. It's Jeff Butterfield, takes the ball, Tony Marchant takes the man. And Dewsbury all offside, a good yard or so in front there. Mr. Redfern just keeping an eye to the right hand side as that ball being played, noticing the Dewsbury players not got back on side, so it's Martin Wood with a penalty attempt or a penalty kick, looking for the touchline on this side. And that ball not going in, the wind taking effect, and it's well taken by Rogers on the touchline side. Martin looking for the distance rather than anything else. The wind coming over the top of the stand having an effect on that ball. Well offloaded there by Dewsbury in the tackle as Nathan Graham gets the ball out the far side to Charles. There's Rombo on the far side with Charles. He brings the Dewsbury supporters to the feet, but he's brought down a metre short of the halfway line. And Fleary now going in. 5 metres inside the Keighley half of the field. And another penalty, this time again for holding down in the tackle. Mr. Redfern certainly keen on this holding down in the opening stages. All we can say is that we hope, unlike many of his colleagues, that he maintains that keenness.
Yeah, he's got to do, John, all through the game. Once you start, you've got to keep at it. No point in packing up after a quarter of an hour.
Cox then driving that ball in towards the Keighley 20-metre line. He's 5 metres short of it as the threatened switch came on. In fact, it was the hooker Neil Kelly who did neither and took the ball himself, only to fall to the tackling on the 20 metres. Now the switch comes on. Out to Conway. Conway feeds Charles. And Charles, the long, lanky figure of Marcus Charles over there, bundled back a further 5 metres. Ball out then through the hands of Holiday into the centre of the park, but the Keighley tacklers up to it at the moment. Run round there from Conway with Holiday. Holiday though falling to the tackle some 28 metres out. It's the last one coming up as the ball comes on again to Conway. Conway throws a long ball out there, but it's knocked on and regathered as Wayne Race now looks to get away, but he's not going to be able to get away from those tacklers. Darren Fleury making sure of that. Stevie Hall takes the ball under his arm, drives his way towards that 10 metres short of the halfway. Ayers finds Gately. Gately, he's going to have to take the tackle because the supporting player's not with him, and in fact that's a penalty for Keighley this time, again for holding down. 2-1 the penalties in favour of Dewsbury at the moment, every single one for holding down in the tackle. In fact 2-2, in fact the other one for Keighley was one for Dewsbury being offside just inside their own half of the field. Martin Wood puts the ball into touch, 10 metres inside that Dewsbury half. Ramshaw finds Ayers, brings on Hall. Initially taken round the head, but manages to release the ball to Mark Brook Cowden. NBC making the 30-metre line before being brought to ground by Fleury and Holiday. And it's Brendan Hill now driving his way through into the Dewsbury 20 area. Ball out quickly through Ayers onto Wood. Wood looked to find Gately, but the knock-on occurring. I think Ian Gately just looking there at referee David Redfern saying, "I didn't touch that one, sir." But the referee, he had different ideas. Ball in and out predictably to Dewsbury as Rombo gets the ball from Charles. Andy Stevenson going for the man with the ball, and it's Dewsbury making good progress up towards the halfway line.
Just a point here, John, that Dewsbury look to be giving the ball out to the backs at the opportunity. I think they realise that they've got the pace out wide with Rambo and Marcus Charles and Earl Johnson, and with Keighley missing Milner and Pinkney. I think they're hoping to expose it out there. Keighley's got to be awake to this and get the sliding defence across faster than what they are doing just at present.
Well, certainly so far they've not managed to penetrate that defence as Bell goes into the opposite half of the field, and A little bit of to-in throwing going on as Rambo half away, in fact does get away there from John Walker, and a good run there up, and quite rightly just what Daryl said there, moving the ball out quickly to the speed men. Conway across to Holiday, there's numbers over here, there goes the chase. Wayne Race though on the end of it, he just gets back away from his own try line area, running across the face of the post, and he does so, and a good take there by Wayne Race, but an equally good kick through by Dewsbury, putting a lot of pressure on that Keighley defence. Stevenson looking to get away from that defensive line now. Ramshaw onto Gately, Gately driving in. Referee certainly saw an arm round the head there, indicated by the signal. Ball safely into touch then. Ten metres then from the halfway line. Ramshaw onto Hall. Hall driving in, manages to offload, but really the Keighley line were fast asleep, completely fast asleep there. Everything left to Andy Ayres there, and that was very, very poor by Keighley, Darrell.
Yeah, I think they expected Steve Hall to take the tackle. One Steve passed to Andy. Andy had to let go, otherwise it would waste of time passing, and a good pass from Andy, but the players just weren't looking.
Brendan Hill though going down that touchline side, and I think really awareness is what the difference is between first and second division rugby, and if Keighley are going into the first division next season, that's one of the things that need to be aware of. The ball being released in the tackle unexpectedly as Kevin Marr now offloads to Stevenson. Stevenson bursting through into the opposition half, brought to ground though and being roughed up there by Rogers. And certainly Conway miles offside there as Martin Wood steps through, kicks on, got a hell of a crack there from Fleury. Absolute disgust in the touch judge on the job. Martin Wood taken out by the elbow of Fleury there. Absolutely appalling. Play over the far side, that incident 10 minutes into the game. I don't know whether we picked it on camera, but certainly one for citing Fleury in a disciplinary case for an off the ball move. Absolutely disgraceful. Johnson then in possession, out the far side to Paul Worthy. Marchant in possession, held up but still allowed to get away with the ball in the tacklers. Neil Kelly now 12 metres from the halfway line, rolling over a couple before he decides to get up and play the ball. It's number 12 Glenn Bell over the far side. The ball, referee says play on, but the ball being passed into touch and a knock on as well, says the referee. And another Keighley player down, Brendan Hill it is this time, just inside the Dewsbury half of the field. The referee obviously concerned about him because he's asking him to stay still, stay exactly where he is. I certainly didn't see what went on there with Brendan, but he's not got up, Darrell, and I think the referee very concerned about the fact that he didn't want him to get up either. Yeah,
I didn't see it either, John, but he probably made a noise, screamed or something when he went down. The referee had heard it, you know, and immediately looked, realised he hadn't moved much, so again wants to stop in play, stop it and check on the player.
But Brendan's made a much sterner stuff than that. He's not for going off, he's been sorted out there. And that ball out the back of the scrum, but the referee not satisfied with that scrum, and it's Ayres will have that ball to put in once more. He does, it's out better at the back of the scrum this time, onto Wood. Wood brings on Butterfield, but Butterfield met just short of the halfway line by Marchant and others, as Ayres now gets the ball out to Stevenson. .13 as Johnny Walker now goes on a run in, and there's another high tackle, and I think really Dewsbury they've come out of Dewsbury, haven't they, Daryl, meaning giving their intentions quite clearly. The off the ball with Fleury, a couple of head highs, and Mr. Redfern at the moment is up to the task.
Yeah, John, I think what Dewsbury has realised is with them playing up the hill, they've got to keep Keighley out. Keighley realise obviously they've got to get points this half. Dewsbury's defence is so keen, you know, that we'll stop them anyway.
Gately now then driving into that 20-metre line from that Ramshaw tap restart. Shrugs away the tacklers, brings on Hall. Hall drives in towards the post. He's dragged down 10 metres from those Dewsbury sticks. Gets up quickly, plays the ball, switch of play. Martin Wood finds Kevin Marr, but Kevin Marr not able to get through that Dewsbury defence. They met it, but Martin Wood now from the quick play the ball out there to John Walker, but John Walker puts that ball down. It's regathered by Dewsbury in the shape of Eddie Rombo on that far wing side. And they now breathe a sigh of relief and look to work their way back away from that danger area as far as they're concerned. Lost ball there in the tackle. Regathered by Keighley. And it's John Walker going on his own from the acting half position, setting things up, but bursting his way through those rather weak Dewsbury tackles as Ramshaw now switches back to Ayres. Ayres finds Gately. The big fella almost through the gap, but not able to get that extra inch that would have prized the defence open. Gately acting half-back this time. Looking round, Owen decides to board over himself, but it's the last tackle coming up. Tries to play the ball, unable to do so as Ayres gets the ball away to Wood. Wood chips the ball over the top for the chase, but just that bit too far, not even to have to bother Nathan Graham. A good set of six there by Keighley, but an equally good set of defending six by Dewsbury. Darren Rogers in the centre of the field. Back towards, or out as far as 10 metres from that tap restart on the 20. And another good 10-metre gain there for Dewsbury as they come back up this Mount Pleasant slope. Kelly switches the ball inside there to Fleury. Conway out there to Holiday. Holiday releases the ball, but the man on the end unable to do anything other than take that tackle. Charles again out to Conway on the far side, but again the last tackle coming up for Dewsbury as they break into the Keighley half of the field. That's a good kick downfield, going into touch, just going over the head of Jeff Butterfield, and the Keighley fullback allowing that ball go into touch. But that's a good pressure relieving kick there on the last tackle for Dewsbury, taking play 10 metres from the Keighley line with their head and feed. Ayres then to feed this scrum. Out the back. And Stevenson. Or is it Walker? John Walker, in fact. Ayres again, bringing on Mark Brooke-Cowden, but just slipping in the mud there as he tries to switch direction. And Ramshaw now onto Gately. Gately drives in, takes the first tackle, but still not able to get away from those two centres doing the defence. Look at those two men for standing square, side by side, nowhere near square. Referee Redfern quite happy to let it go. Ramshaw then puts the ball deep downfield. It's not finding touch. It makes Rogers do the fielding work. He brings on Graham. Graham being told that that's where the ball was going. And Steve Hall, remember, he scored a brilliant try here last week against Batley, showing that he's still got that pace to catch Graham as he went across the park. Play then 10 metres from the halfway line. 0-0 the scoreline still reads. 17 minutes on the clock, but looked as though there might have been tackled into touch there, but not so. A good run through and a good offload there to Conway, but I think it's, yes, Conway falling to the grasping arms of Ian Gately. And out then to centre Earl Johnson, but equally well tackled there by Phil Stevenson, playing the ball to himself. Was he marking? The referee said he wasn't. Jeff Butterfield takes the tackle. And really, I do think that the mark or not mark situation, Darryl, does need clearing up, because it's very iffy there as to whether Johnson was marked or not at that play of the ball.
Yeah, Andy Ayres made the tackle, you know, and you're supposed to roll away. It's all right rolling away and letting them go, but if they walk half a pace forward, you're out of position for playing it, so they can play it to themselves.
Brendan Hill then bursting through those tackles to the halfway line, but Keighley desperate for some points on the board at the moment now as Gately switches back to Ayres. Ayres spots the gap. Ayres is through the gap. He's got Martin Wood with him. He goes for the kick. The chase is on. The ball bounces awkwardly in field. In fact, it looked as though Graham just touched the ball. In fact, he did. The touch judge assisting the referee in that. A very good kick through there for that chase by Andy Ayres. Hopefully for either the wingman or Martin Wood to follow.
Yeah, good kick that, John, yeah. Put the pressure on Dewsbury. We had him backpedaling quite well there. Fortunately for Keighley, that the Dewsbury man knocked it dead, so that they have a drop out now.
And that's not the best of restarts, but Andy Ayres allowing the ball to come through to Steve Hall. He takes it, gets up ahead of steam before going back down that line and being tackled just short of the 20. Mark Brook Cowden on the far side of the field. Tony Marchant taking him, half taking him, and Mark Brook Cowden going, but eventually dragged down just short of the Dewsbury line. A little bit of a knock on there by Jason Ramshaw. Tries to pick the ball up and go over for the dive over try. And I don't think we say any more about that.
No, we better not, John.
Scrum forming then some 10 metres from the Dewsbury line. It will be Mark Conway to feed this scrum. When the referee eventually satisfies himself that it's formed correctly. In then and eventually out round the back. Johnson, the man on the end of the pass. In fact, it wasn't, it was Rombo, beg your pardon. Holiday. Upended on his own 20-metre line as he tries to work that ball away. Brendan Hill struggling to get away from the prone body of Holiday on the floor. And that's a good drive out and equally well met by the tackling of Ramshaw and Marr. 30 metres clear then, and Dewsbury certainly doing a good containing job in this first half as Conway probes and looks for the hole. It's the last tackle coming up, 5 metres from the halfway line. I think we can reliably expect this ball. Well, we could have reliably expected the ball to have been pumped upfield, but Mr. Redfern, having different ideas, saying a Keighley player just pushed him away. And really, not the best of ideas when it was the last tackle that was about to come up. Referee just initially asking for the clock to be stopped and a sponge to be brought on, but now the player deciding that he's changed his mind, he doesn't want it. And that ball into touch on this side, some 15 metres inside the Keighley half of the field. Kelly restarts play onto Cox. Cox driving in, some 25 metres out now from that Keighley line, going up this Mount Pleasant slope. Kelly again onto Conway. Oh, and a bad miss there by Ian Gately, allowing the Dewsbury player to get another 5 metres, and that's a penalty again for pulling the ankle away. And if that's what happened, that's the correct decision. Looks as though Brendan Hill may have been the guilty party, and this is going to give Mark Conway the opportunity of getting the first points of the afternoon on the board for Dewsbury. Penalty some 20 metres out and marginally to the right hand side of the uprights. 22 minutes on the clock as Conway attempts this penalty kick. Down on the touchline side we've got Joe Grimmer just taking his gear off. Will be looking to run up and down and warm himself up as Conway prepares this penalty conversion attempt. In fact, already getting ready to go on as Conway puts that one safely through the post and puts Dewsbury 2 points in the lead. The substitution, Ian Gately, it looked as though he's the man who's going to come off. In fact, beg your pardon, it's Steve Hall. Just got the numbers wrong way around there. Steve Hall, the man coming off. just looks as though he's carrying a little bit of a groin injury. Martin Wood applies the right boot to that ball, going down into the Dewsbury goal area, taken by Marquis Charles. But in fact, no, it's Rombo. Difficult to identify these two, but that's Fleury. And Martin Wood in on the tackle there with Kevin Marr on Fleury. Play out to this short side. Joe Grimmer in on that early tackle, just getting a feel. It's a long time since Joe Grimmer played a competitive game of rugby, having been injured in that game against Workington way back in December. Holiday moves out, finds Fleury. Fleury, the second row for Dewsbury, coming up in support of that ball, being tackled 10 metres from the halfway line. The last tackle coming up though as Mr. Redfern holds his hand in the air. And there again goes the boot from Holiday up that far touchline side. It's not going to go in touch. Jeff Butterfield has to do the fielding. Gets through a despairing arm out there from Marquis Charles. The Speckies on the far side there, a bit disappointed that the Keighley player didn't get a penalty, but a good run out there by Andy Stevenson, some 15 metres now from the halfway line. Marr getting another good 10. Onto the halfway line and just inside, and there we think we see the penalty. In fact, Kevin Marr being penalised for not playing the ball correctly, really, Darrell, and I think, well, a knock on. I didn't see the knock on. I thought that he indicated not playing correctly, but I think just prior to that the Dewsbury player had certainly pushed Marr back down to the ground.
Yeah, he had, John, but Mr. Effern didn't see him, you know. He just saw Kevin messing about with ball on floor, so he gave the knock on.
Marchant now then, looking for the hole past Martin Wood, but opposite number equal to that attempted breakthrough by Marchant. Marchant, of course, very much speculation that he may have been coming to Keighley before he arrived at Dewsbury. As Dewsbury now, Les Holiday finds Johnson. Johnson tackled 10 metres inside the Keighley half. Just arming away there, trying to get Phil Stevenson involved by holding his arm, but Stevenson not wanting to know, knocking the arm away. Kelly now through the hands of Conway, brings on Holiday. In fact, but Glenn Bell, I beg your pardon, but the last tackle comes up once more as Kelly now acting half-back. Threatened to go for the drop goal, and in fact milking a penalty, but the referee I think penalising for offside.
Yeah, when he kicked there, the hooker kicked through there, the scrum half were way in front of him, well offside, and he kicked on, so Mr. Redfern no option there but to blow him offside.
But certainly a good attempt there to milk a penalty there by Dewsbury, but this is Joe Grimmer, a tentative run forward there towards the Dewsbury defence. Ian Gately getting up a better head of steam as he takes on that defence on that far side of the field. 10 metres from the halfway line. Ramshaw onto Marr. Marr looking to get round the outside. Eventually breaks through, but nobody able to take the ball in support. Andy Stevenson was there. This is Andy Ezo. Onto Martin Wood. Wood finds Brooke Cowden. Mark Brooke Cowden offloads, but the ball goes backwards onto Wayne Race. He's going to take on Darren Rogers, but Rogers and Johnson doing the tackling there, bringing him towards the touchline side as they do. And Race plays the ball onto Stevenson, finds Martin Wood, a long ball out to Ramshaw, out to Kevin Marr. Marr offloads to Stevenson. Stevenson shrugs away those tacklers, gets towards the 20-metre line, and the referee just about to put the arm up for the last tackle, but notices that Andy Stevenson just a little knock on there as he tried to recover his position to play the ball. So we've got a scrum on the 20-metre line. Dewsbury to feed. Scoreline reading 2 points to 0 in Dewsbury favour. In fact, the referee not satisfied again with that scrummaging. 27 minutes on the clock. And I think really Darrell, Keighley desperately need a score, don't they?
Certainly do, John, yes. They don't want anything at all here. They could do with 6 points really badly, but anything at all, a penalty will do even.
Yeah, just to get their the heads up, although the heads are nowhere down, but just to make sure that they start operating, and a little bit of a confidence booster. But that's Johnson as Dewsbury get towards the 30-metre line rather. Up and play the ball out to the far side. Holiday feeds the ball out. Certainly Holiday and Conway, the two people making Dewsbury tick at the moment. And a penalty again against Keighley there for holding of the foot. Mr. Redfern's certainly seeing these. I just hope he sees it all the time. I have no problems any more than you have, Dal, with him penalising things that he sees, as long as he keeps doing it.
That's right, John. Consistency is the name of the game. Whatever the referee does, you want him to keep it doing it for 80 minutes.
On the halfway line then, as Dewsbury break into the Keighley half of the field. Towards the centre of the park there, a good breakthrough, but equally met there by Jason Ramshaw. Finished off by Joe Grimmer. And moving across there, a run round between Conway, Holiday, but not coming to anything. That ball bobbling all over. In fact, Brendan Hill, the man, eventually taking the ball in the slips. And in fact, the referee penalising again for holding down, as Martin Wood takes the tap quickly. Ramshaw on the far side brings on Stevenson, the centre going in at a fair rate of knots, but not able to break through as Ramshaw now. Ayres on to Martin Wood. Martin Wood tries to hand off the defence, does so. Looks to offload, but has to go back and regather the ball himself. Scoops it up into the arms of Brendan Hill. Hill, though, 22 metres out from the Dewsbury post. Ayres on to Grimmer. Grimmer looks to bust through the tackle, but not able to do so. Andy Ayres not able to gather that offload. No problem there, Andy Ayres, no chance of getting near it. And as a result, Dewsbury regather. Fleary, the man, coming away with the ball. Kelly, 15 metres from the halfway line. Fleary just having to take that tackle as Kelly gets onto Conway. Conway finds the other guy in the middle whose identity escapes, with the referee allowing play to continue, satisfied the tackle and not being completed. But the ball wayward there as Charles sweeps up, gets it to Rombo. And Rombo stepping in field and getting away from that tackling, misses altogether. And really some woeful tackling there from Keighley in the centre of the park, as Rombo allowed to almost run through at will, as Conway now puts the ball upfield, looks for the touchline side and finds the touch some 10 metres from the keeper line. Some woeful tackling there, Darrell, by Keighley.
Yes and no, John. There was really, I mean, Rambo, he knocked Andy Ayres off, but to Andy's credit, he realised that he'd beaten him and he went back after him, and he actually made the tackle in the end after he'd knocked off some other players. So it showed that Keighley didn't just accept that he got away, they did come back. Good tackling back there by Andy.
Yes, good tackling back by Andy, certainly no problems with that. It basically meaning that it possibly should have been made the first time, as he now skips through the gap. He's got Rogers and Tony Marchant, the man chasing him. And referee penalises Marchant for what I think might have been attempting to old man the referee there. Certainly Marchant, worldly wise to these things, making it appear with one arm in the air that he'd released the player, but certainly clinging tight to the jersey underneath. Martin Wood puts that ball safely into touch, just inside the Dewsbury half, as Ramshaw waits to restart. The indication just going out from the Dewsbury bench that they've another 7 minutes or thereabouts to defend this slope. They've got a 2-point lead, and Gately tries his best to get through that defence, but not able to do so as Ramshaw switches play to Ayres. Back inside to Mark Brooke-Cowden. NBC tries to step in the sticky stuff in the middle, but not able to get away. Ramshaw looking for the support, there's none there, he has to go on his own. Certainly looking for the switch of play. Referee pointing to the players to get onside as Grimmer finds the ball out to Stevenson on the far flank. Stevenson manages to get into the Dewsbury 20, but this is the last one. Martin Wood's going to put the ball over the top for the chase. He switches it back. What's the referee going to give? A knock on. Certainly a half-hearted cheer going up there behind the posts, but last tackle knock on, so that's a restart on the 10-metre line for Dewsbury. As they again get away from that first tackle. I think, Darrell, what we've got to hope for is Dewsbury have taken a lot out of themselves in this first half with the amount of tackling they've been doing, because if they burst through the Keighley tackles in the second half the way they've been doing in this first half, then I honestly think that Keighley could well be on for a few points against them.
Certainly could, John, yeah, where they're backing through. They've hitting the first man very hard, Dewsbury. Got to tighten this first man tackling up.
Penalty there for Dewsbury for holding down in that tackle. Again, safely finding touch on this near side of the field, 10 metres inside the Keighley half. Kelly onto the number 10, Gary Cox. He's tackled though just inside the field, inside the 15 metres, I should say, from the halfway line. Is offloading the tackle to Kelly, onto Conway. Conway gets the ball out wide there as Holiday operating in the centre of the park from this point, from this particular point. Gets up, plays the ball, and Kelly running round, going on his own, evading the initial tackle there of Brendan Hill, but eventually falling to the one of Mark Brook-Cowden. Conway skips on his own, switches play, gets it out to Johnson. Bit of shepherding there. Oh, terrible shepherding. Oh, well. Absolute appalling shepherd there, Darrell. I don't think anybody could question that. Two Keighley players taken out by the Dewsbury man running through, leaving them the freedom of the right flank.
Certainly did, John, yes. I think the toucher just had a word with the referee. Jason's having a word as well. Definitely shepherd in there. Now whether Mr. Redford, obviously he didn't see it. I think he'd have blown out, he'd seen it, but it was a bad shepherd in that.
Well, he certainly should have seen it because he was there. Our pictures will show he saw it, and our eyes saw it, as I think did 75% of the crowd here, which are from Keighley. Well, Conway missing that one, and fortunately for Keighley, it's 6-0 in favour of Dewsbury, and I think it was Rombo who scored that try, and I have to say, very disputed, and that was a poor kick off Martin Wood, going for the short kick, but there's certainly the players he was kicking to weren't there. I think if you're going to do that sort of thing, you're going to have to talk as you come back, or at least behind the post when you do it, Dal.
Certainly have, John. You've got to let people know what you're doing with these kicks.
Dewsbury then, as they come back into the Keighley half just, they have another 3.5 minutes or thereabouts of this first half left. They've got 6 points advantage. And as we said last week, from Keighley's point of view, the second half should be theirs as they come down this slope. Brendan Hill half stopping the player there as he goes through. It's the last one coming up, says the referee, as Conway goes for the kick, looking for the chase this time. It's a good kick, it's not going to go dead, and Wayne Race actually kicking it dead. It certainly wouldn't have gone dead, that's for sure. A good weighted kick there by Conway, knowing that if it did if what happened did happen, that he was going to get the ball back, or at least his side was, from this dropout by Martin Wood from underneath the Keighley post. On the far side there, Cox with the ball, feeding the ball out, again escaping that first attempted tackle. I just have to wonder whether these Dewsbury players have had the bonus treble for wins today, because they're coming up this Mount Pleasant slope like men possessed. A nice ball out there. And the switch there, Holiday switching the play back inside. Certainly in. Yes, that's a good try. The keeper defence opened like a tin of beans, I suppose, and the beans were spilled. Gary Cox, the man scoring, as the man on the PA almost swallows his microphone. And I think for their effort, Darrell, in this first half, I know we're doing the video from a Keighley point of view, but certainly from the Dewsbury efforts, they are very well worth the lead they have.
Certainly are, John. Yes, they're playing good football. They're defending well when they have to defend, and when they get out in their own half, top half of this slope, they throw the ball down really well and back each other up well. Good try with that.
2 tries in the space of 3 minutes there, as Conway attempts once more to convert. And that looks good. It is. And that's giving Dewsbury a handsome lead to start the second half with. And it's giving Keighley all sorts of problems. Certainly Les Holiday, the architect of that one, and then again a quick restart. Martin Wood this time taking the ball himself, as Mark Brooke-Cowden gets on Kevin Marr. Kevin Marr feeds the ball inside to Stevenson. Stevenson gets to that Dewsbury 20-metre area, an area of the field that Keighley have not seen very much of in the last 10-15 minutes. A run round high bears, but a good tackle there by the Dewsbury defender, as Ramshaw now onto Grimmer. Certainly Joe Grimmer not match fit by any shades of the imagination, as Ian Gately now takes the ball in. Martin Wood out there, long ball out to Kevin Marr. Kevin Marr steps inside Wayne Race. Wayne Race in touch on the near corner flag. 10-metre scrum will find, but that's almost half time now. The Dewsbury tries were in stoppage time, 2 minutes in fact. The Dewsbury tries coming from Eddie Rombo and Gary Cox, penalty goal from Mark Conway, and the conversion of that last try also to Conway. That ball, well, it came out, but it was kicked back again, and the referee just decides that he'll have them put it in again. Conway making sure that it goes in the right end. But that's the half-time hooter, and there's certainly going to be some very, very stern words in those changing rooms at half-time, Darrell.
Certainly are, John, yes. Dewsbury's got it all, you know. I mean, they've got a 12-point lead, they've got the slope and everything in their favour. Keighley's really got to get their act together.
Well, there's been a change of shirts on the Keighley side and Dewsbury side. Be interesting to see whether there's a change as far as as far as that's concerned. As far as the Keighley's approach to the second half's concerned.
Yeah, well, I'll wait and see, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Berry on.
Yeah, Joe Berry come on. He's taken the place of Joe Grimmer. He's lasted fully 15 minutes. And a good kick-off there by Conway, finding Martin Wood. And Kevin Marr driving back to the 20-metre line. And being driven back by those Dewsbury tacklers towards his own try line as he attempts to get up and play the ball. Ramshaw off there to Berry. Berry, the former Great Britain under-19 Barla tourist. And I think the referee going to just pull out for a head high. Again, it's that man Gately. He certainly seems to get the treatment, does Ian Gately, with the tackles. Referee Mr Redfern, I have to say, been very protective towards the players in this game so far as head-high tackles are concerned. Restart takes place then, some 15 metres inside the Keighley half. Brendan Hill driving up towards the halfway line, but well met there by Dewsbury defenders. Ayers finds Mark Brookcowden. Brookcowden towards the halfway line. Ramshaw out to Hill. Hill driving the ball in again. Offloads though in the tackle. Andy Ayres finds the grasping arms there of Martin Wood. Onto the ever-willing Jeff Butterfield on the far side as Wayne Race breaks to within 5 metres of that 20-metre line. It's 4 tackles gone as Keighley now launch an attack. The Cougar cry goes up. Kevin Marr looks to get through, but he's not able to, and Marquis Charles just ensures he can't offload as Ramshaw, the last tackle. Martin Wood puts the ball high on the last ball and the last one, and well taken there by Nathan Graham, the Dewsbury fullback, under the following pressure from Jason Ramshaw rather, and Joe Burry. Bell driving away from his own line as the goal going out to Rombo. Rombo tries to step through the centre of the park. Thought he'd half exposed a gap there in the Keighley defence.
Makes sense to me.
Almost 30 metres away from that Dewsbury line then as they come back down this Mount Pleasant slope in the heavy conditions, although the field holding up remarkably well. The rain been coming down right throughout this game as Holiday pumps the left boot and the ball down the field there. Jeff Butterfield makes sure his arms nowhere near that ball as he steadies it with his body before coming away towards the halfway line. Wayne Race skips away from that first tackle by Marchant. And again, Race being laid on by those Dewsbury tacklers. In fact, the man guilty still shakes his head, shaking the mud, I suspect, out of his ears as he gets up and retires to his defensive position. Martin Wood safely finding touch on that occasion, but not many yards as Ramshaw brings on Gately. Ooh, and certainly a head flowing, but shoulder to shoulder, I think, Darrell.
Look shoulder to me, John. You know, Ian were running really hard there, and the Dewsbury defence was just as determined, you know. Good tackle, really.
Sheer impact of the tackle that made the head fly back as Ayres pulled back as the referee spots Dewsbury on the far side in an offside position. Andy Ayres pulled back. He thought that perhaps he might have been allowed the advantage there, but Mr Redfern not playing it and giving the Keighley the penalty that puts the tap restart some 25 metres out. There's no ball at the far side of the field. Both balls that were that side are out of the ground. Referee, though, he has stopped the clock. Ramshaw then just regathers that ball as Dewsbury give it back to him, and it's Wayne Race taking the first drive in. Driving straight into the waiting arms of the Dewsbury defenders there. And Brendan Hill taking play in. A good 4 or 5 metres indeed after he'd been tackled there. Martin Wood on the switch. Finds Kevin Marr, but Marr unable to duck through, but still manages to release the ball in the tackle as Gately turns in the tackle 10 metres from that Dewsbury line. Keighley coming up, looking for a score, an early score in the second half. But that sliding Dewsbury defence doing very well, getting across there, covering Brendan Hill. Well, he lost the ball, I think. Yes, he did. And I think, Darrell, had he not gone back to pick that ball up and played it, the referee would have allowed it, because you can drop the ball to the floor as long as you heel it first, afterwards.
Certainly can, John, yeah. He only made it a knock-on by picking it back up. Had he left it on deck and played it back with his foot, it'd have been play on. That
ball then out to Dewsbury as Rombo comes away. Again, searching for the hole in the centre of the field, looking for that far wing to meet up with the other speed man, Marcus Charles. "25 metres out then from the Dewsbury line, and a good burst forward there by the number 8 Paul Worthy. Gets to 10 metres from the halfway line. Dewsbury stepping through the centre, not able to get to that halfway line on this occasion. Milking a penalty, looking for one, getting one, and Ramshaw being pulled down and appealing to the touch judge. And certainly the referee who was being pulled down was Jason Ramshaw by his scrum cap there, Darrell.
Yeah, well, John, I could see it from where I'm sat here. But, you know, he appealed to the far touch judge. The far touch judge couldn't see, neither could the referee. But this touch judge on this side could have seen it.
But the referee just pointing to Jason then and touching his head. I don't know whether he thinks it's me that's doing the thinking or you're trying to do the conning, but there was no conning going on there. But as it is, it's Dewsbury coming back into the Keighley half, some 15 metres inside. Gets up, plays the ball there onto Gary Cox. Cox inside the Keighley 20. And the number 8 there, Paul Worthy, looking to offload and deciding not to and try and turn and take it. Kelly, though, out to Holiday. Holiday finds the number 11 there, Darren Fleary, on the far side, but it's the last tackle. As that ball, well, was it played, wasn't it played? Marcus Charles tries to go through. That ball striking a Keighley boot. And in fact, he's going to give the hand over. The ball struck the boot. It wasn't played by the man.
No, the man's got to make an attempt to play the ball. No attempt there to play it. Good decision by the ref.
Brendan Hill then with that restart as Phil Stevenson tries to come away. Keighley needing 2 scores before they even get level, and they've got an immense task in this second half, driving the way back up this slippy, slimy Mount Pleasant slope. Marr driving through half away, but Charles and Marchant doing the wrapping up. Oh, and really that was appalling. The first tackle was all right, the second was disgusting, and if that man stays on the field, I don't know what, because it wasn't an accident, Darrell, anyway.
No accident involved there, John, that was deliberate.
Nothing harmless, nothing accidental, certainly premeditated. The referee just looking at Ian Gately, but really that guy should not be staying on the field. I thought it was Ian Gately that's gone down. In fact, it's the Dewsbury man who is in fact hurt. Neil Kelly, the man who's hurt. I thought, though, that the Keighley physio looking for, in fact, Ian Gately being seriously injured under that. One wonders whether it was, in fact, Neil Kelly who did the tackle, Dell. I couldn't see. I don't think it was.
No, it looked like number 11 to me, John.
We'll see who the referee calls out. Certainly... Certainly he's got the number 11 there standing with him. I see. In fact, number 11 is Darren Fleary, of course. Remember, he led with the elbow early doors and took Martin Wood off. Or out, I should say. Well, in fact, it's the number 12, Glenn Bellis, speaking to. He certainly can't sin bin him, and he ain't going to send him off because his hands have stayed firmly in his pockets or away from his pockets, and really I think Mr. Redfern should have done something about that. Bell raising the arm to Gately saying, I'm sorry, but that's no good. Fortunately, Ian Gately's all right. It would have been just the same if he'd have been in hospital. As John Walker goes on a crossfield run there, but tackled by Earl Johnson. Wayne Race now. Wingman for wingman taking that first and second tackle as Martin Wood now offloads, misses out Brendan Hill, but Phil Stevenson dragged into touch on this near side by Marcus Charles and Eddie Rombo, and it's a substitution being taken place. Paul Worthy coming off and Andy Dickinson coming on. I always worry when this man comes on the field, Andy Dickinson, Darrell, because apart from being an elusive player, he is also a very unpredictable player, and if he loses his rag, he goes crackers and can cause serious injuries.
Yeah, John, we watched him a bit at Huddersfield before he come to Dewsbury, and had a bit of an headbang attack, you know. But hopefully he's calmed down and he'll just stick to rugby.
That penalty then being given for feeding at the scrum as Ramshaw takes the ball in. Joe Burry driving in just inside that 10-metre line, but driven back onto it. Ramshaw inside to Ayres. Ayres finds Gately. Gately turns in that tackle. Certainly does that to some good effect, does Ian Gately, when he turns his back and tries to spin away as Ramshaw. Oh, well, he was no short man there to take that ball. The long man was out in Brendan Hill. Ayres, but Ayres not getting the ball. It's Mark Brooke-Cowden who got it, and being driven back to that 10-metre line again. Keighley unable to make any progress inside that 10 as Dewsbury come up very quickly. Long ball out there, but missing Stevenson. Wayne Race having to take it, ducks away from the first tackle, but falls to the one of Mark Conway, and back to the 20-metre line. Lost ground all the way of Keighley here. Delayed pass there by Ayres, getting the ball out to the far side, but the last tackle taking place a yard back from where the tap penalty took place, a tap restart rather, but it's a good ball. Oh, and there's got to be an obstruction there. Keighley, the Keighley player pushing away the Dewsbury defender without the ball. Certainly no question about that.
Oh, that was silly, John. Ball was hanging around bit line there. Brendan left him alone. Could have been under a lot of pressure.
Marcus Charles actually taking that tap on the try line and tapping it to himself. Couple of tackles being used now as Marchant falls also on the 10-metre line. Dickinson, I beg your pardon. And in fact Dickinson already just limping slightly. Conway misses out the first man and gives it to, looks as though it might be Johnson. He's been driven back towards the try line. Mr. Redfern just going in to make sure that everything's all right. And a good tackle there, but the ball gone back to the referee, Jason Ramshaw, and the crowd in that corner said it was knocked on. Certainly Mr. Redfern not helping Keighley at all in this, but tremendous tackling stint here going on by Keighley. If the ball's moved quick or it's kicked downfield, in fact it has been, but there's two bobbies and the fullback in position. Jeff Butterfield comes back, but there's four Dewsbury players there for him to choose to run into. Ultimately had to hit one as Wayne Race now steps into the centre of the field. Ramshaw onto Ayres. Ayres finds Marr going in. Offloads, does he? No. Wrapped up by the combination of the two people without the hair. Looked a bit forward, but the referee again says it was okay. Ramshaw out there to Ayres. Ayres brings on Martin Wood. Martin Wood finds Mark Brooke-Cowden, the big fella coming through the centre of the park. Offloads to Marr. Ian Gately this time spins away. Offloads to Marr, but Marr's brought down inside that 10-metre line of Dewsbury. It's the last tackle. Gately on his knees in the centre of the field as Ramshaw. He's got to put a long ball out. Martin Wood takes it out there to Phil Stevenson. Stevenson though tackled in possession. Good defence there by Dewsbury, but thought perhaps maybe one of these days his half-wit sitting next to us will shut up. But thought perhaps Phil Stevenson may have got that ball out, but the ball spilled in the tackle there as Andy Ayres, and the ball goes backwards. The referee says it does. Just shot out of Ayres' hands there. Ramshaw onto Wood. Wood skips halfway through. Can't release the ball though. Tremendous defence call for here by Dewsbury, but looking for some attack from Keighley as Ayres now. Joe Burry not able to take that ball as it came through. Keighley needs some magic here as Gately does. Just inside, still inside that Dewsbury 10. I don't think this part of the field has ever seen as much wear. As Ramshaw gets the ball out, this time again, Martin Wood's in, is he? The referee says no, he knocked on. The touch judge gave the knock on, and again the crowd behind the post don't like it. But the referee's is consulting the touch judge, and I think in fact Phil Stevenson being called in, having doubted the parentage probably of that touch judge, and a couple of decisions having gone the wrong way for Keighley this afternoon, which has not really helped the cause. A tremendous amount of pressure being put on Dewsbury there, and it looked to me as though all on a try for Martin Wooddell. Thought at long last he'd managed to well, in fact he has given the knock on the tap 20 restart, and Keighley just not getting back, but I thought perhaps that was a time there, Daryl, for Martin to have scored. He's tried and pierced that defence 3 times. I thought that was going to be 4th time lucky.
I think he did as well, John, yeah. A bit unfortunate there that he knocked on. That's what Keighley wanted there, was the try and the conversion. Put him back in this game.
Now they're being called upon to defend because 17 minutes gone, and they're being called upon to defend now after having a lot of pressure on that Dewsbury line, and Dewsbury will be coming down here, down this hill, quite confident in the fact that they've held out Keighley for 17 minutes in this second half. Nice kick through there by Conway. It's stuck in the mud. The ball beat him though as he went for the 50-50 ball. Wayne Race gets up and plays it. Jeff Butterfield well met there by the Dewsbury defender as Stevenson breaks away onto 10 metres from the halfway line. 12 points to 0, still the score line as John Walker now comes up. He's looking to get away, but all he can do is run across the face of play there. That ball going away from Jason Ramshaw. Andy Ayres offers a dummy. It's the last tackle once more though as Ramshaw waits at acting half-back. The kick goes up in the air, looks for the touchline. It's a good kick. It doesn't go into touch, but it goes in fact into touch in goal. It bounced cruelly back inside there, Del, from the touchline, round the corner flag and back in touch in goal.
Terrible bounce of that, John, but that's what happens with these funny shaped balls.
Dewsbury then coming slowly back down the hill. Fleary gets up, plays the ball to Kelly. Kelly on to Holiday. Holiday out to Dickinson, and Dickinson struggles to get away there. Looks to wriggle his way away from those tacklers, but not able to do so. He's held still 30 metres from his own line as Marchant. Marchant been quite ineffective really in this game, Darrell, hasn't he? He hasn't showed anything at all.
No, not in attack, John. He has in defence. He's been tackling well in defence. Good kick here, though.
Yes, that's a good kick. And holding up as well in that heavy ground down in the bottom corner. Jeff Butterfield has to really work hard to gain yardage away. The Dewsbury chasers in the shape of, it looked as though it might have been Johnson and Conway doing very well there, following that kick down. Ramshaw bringing on Joe Burry. The young lad certainly had a baptism in this second half. He's been asked to take that ball in, he's done it well, and he's certainly felt some full weight tackles from this Dewsbury defence. Andy Ayres moving the ball out. Wood switches to Gately, back to Ayres. Ayres halfway through the gap. On the halfway line though, and the last tackle coming up as Keighley only managed to get that far. Martin Wood chips the ball through. It's in no man's land, but it doesn't in fact stick in the mud there. And Dewsbury able to regather, get it out to stand off Tony Marchant. Halfway through this second half then, Dewsbury coming back towards the halfway line. That's Glenn Bell and Neil Kelly just running round, wondering what to do with it, deciding that it's too late to do anything and he'll have to take the tackle. Holiday skipping to the left, to the right and then to the left, but brought down right in the centre of the halfway line. Kelly back there for the kick from Conway. Puts the ball downfield, the referee just telling those players that they're offside. Immediately waves them back on those. Jeff Butterfield plays the ball with his foot and then regathers just outside his own 20. Stevenson breaks away from the initial attempted tackle. Still going is Stevenson, almost to the halfway line before being brought to ground. The Keighley followers not getting up in support as they now eventually get there. This is Andy Stevenson, brought down just inside the Dewsbury half by Marchant. John Walker going on his own, can't get away from the grasp of Marcus Charles though. Ramshaw, well, I certainly think that was probably a bit harsh, Darrell. Charles certainly did put him down to the ground, but certainly also made an effort to get away.
Yeah, a bit harsh that, John, but this referee's blowing for holding down at all, so you can't fault him. He's been consistent.
Walker then on the run round from that tap restart. And Ramshaw onto Hill. Hill driving in, pushes away Charles, but still has to go and take that tackle just inside the 20. Onto Mark Brook-Cowden. The loose forward driving for those Dewsbury posts. Ramshaw acting half-back. Switches play to Wood, but I think Dewsbury well aware of this switch that comes on from that move there. Certainly stacking the defence at this side as Ramshaw plunges to go through. In fact, Brendan Hill, sorry. That looks like Ramshaw, but it's the last tackle. The referee's looking close. The touch judge, the referee says he's on his back or he's not able to put the ball down to ground. And in fact he's giving a tap restart on the 10 because it was a handover. That ball played remarkably quickly as Eddie Rombo gets it and runs away from the ruck area in the middle of the field, 10 metres from the halfway line. Kelly through Conway on the far side to Fleary. Fleary offloads on the far side to fullback. Marchant in the line there, but well tackled as Kelly gets away now. And Conway, well, I'm not sure is it Conway or is it Graham? I can't see. It's Graham, in fact. As an attempted drop goal goes there. Kevin Marr turned his back on it. Fortunately manages to regather the ball as Ramshaw comes away from the acting half-back position. Keighley coming back towards the halfway line, desperately struggling to get up to the Dewsbury half, but certainly from the pressure they've exerted when they've been inside that 20 or even 10, they're going to need I think what may well be a breakaway to get points on the board. Ayers or Martin Wood just taking his eye off that ball slightly as it hit the body. The slime on the ball going through, not allowing his hands to secure it. Ball in and out then. Conway, in fact, penalised for feeding. And Conway just questioning that, Darrell.
Yeah, in front of the prop, behind the hooker, not in front of the second row.
Was clearly that is the instruction. Mr. Redfern applying it to the letter. Into touch then, 30 metres from the Dewsbury line as Ramshaw gets play underway once more. Joe Burry taking the ball in. Attempts a bit of a shimmy, but just settles for the tackle. Ramshaw onto Ayres, brings on Gately, the big chap going through the centre of the park. A lot of endeavour with not much result from him this afternoon as play switched. Ayres gets it out to Stevenson. Oh, and good cover tackling there, and the ball spilled in the tackle. Charles, I think, shaping there as though he was thinking about putting the ball downfield. But Dillon dallied just that little bit too long. Ramshaw doing the tackling in the centre of the park there, 20 metres out from the Keighley line, from the Dewsbury line rather. Holiday. Gets up and plays the ball. Conway brings on Dickinson. Dickinson always on the lookout, but it's the last tackle as Dickinson gets up, plays the ball. Kelly now goes for the kick through, finds touch just inside the Keighley half of the field. And again Dewsbury penalised in the scrum there, this time for feet across. Well, they must be wondering what they've got to do things right. Obviously they're not doing in Mr. Redfern's eyes.
A bit harsh that, John. I mean, I like to put his foot, but I thought Andy done it a little bit.
Out there to Stevenson. Stevenson striding through, looking for that 10-metre line before being tackled. Race feeding that ball out to Kevin Marr on that far wing. Noticeably just seen that both Steve Hall and Joe Grimmer come back from the changing rooms. They've been showered. They'll take no more part in this game. And a substitution taking place here. The referee, attention not being able to be drawn to it. Dewsbury wanting to take off Darren Fleary and in fact bring on, well, that's certainly not Andy Dickinson on my sheet. That's Andy Dickinson, he's already on. That must be Paul Worthy. Worthy going straight into the scrum there, taking Fleary part. The ball satisfactorily out of the scrum this time for Dewsbury. And in fact, good tackling there by Andy Stevenson on the fullback, Nathan Graham. Rombo now running away, running back towards his own line, trying to outpace the Dewsbury defence and get round on the outside. Sorry, the Keighley defence. Glenn Bell tackles some 18 metres from the halfway line. Dickinson now coming down the hill. Half evading the tackles and still struggling to get away, refusing to go down. Brendan Hill hanging onto the ankles, refusing him to get up. And now Jason Ramshaw penalised. In fact, it wasn't, it was Dickinson penalised for pushing the man away. A nice ball out by Brooke Cowden. On there to Kevin Marr, but Kevin Marr unable to get away from that scrambling defence of Dewsbury as Martin Wood now on there to Ayres. Ayres on to Gately. Gately again spins in the tackle. It's been a handful for Dewsbury this afternoon, but they've still managed to handle him as Ayres now switches play to Marr, but Marr takes it the same way. The Dewsbury tackler almost tackling Mark Brooke Cowden there before he got the ball as Wood now switches back into Bury. Bury comes back this side. Don't really think Joe Bury expecting that switch, but it happened and he took it. Gately coming on the run up the short side, but it's the last tackle once more coming up as Ramshaw goes for the high ball into the centre of the field. The referee, Brendan Hill rather, having to dispatch a couple of players, deliberately standing in his way to get to the man going for the ball, but Dewsbury safely taking that bomb and defusing it inside their own 10-metre line. A good break out there, but the gate closing as Johnson took that ball. That looked a bit knock-onish by Marquis Charles. And eventually Charles getting to his feet again. It's Paul Worthy, the man with the cleanest jersey at the moment on the field. Up and plays the ball. Kelly back to the standoff Conway. Wayne Race knocks the ball backwards as he takes it. Eventually secures it. Comes back up towards that 30-metre line before being put down to the ground by the advancing Dewsbury players. That ball being, well, was it lost? Was it knocked back? It was knocked back, in fact. Back to one then as the ball out then to, looks like John Walker, who's gone looking over that far side of the field for some work. Ayres looking for the supporting player, decides to take it up on his own, but Dickinson not buying those dummies. Mark Cowden working his way to the halfway line, but again, Dickinson doing the tackling. But he gets up and plays the ball. Ramshaw, Ayres, Martin Wood is having to go on his own. There's no way through. And the ball going high there from Ramshaw, testing the Dewsbury full-back, but he's been sound as a pound all day. I think, Dal, you just spot something there about the difficulty for the players now that the shirt's getting very dirty.
Yeah, once the Keighley player makes half-back now, he's turning to look to offload, and the colours are mingling in with the mud. You know, you can see the red on both sides, and it's a bit dodgy now, offloading. You've got to be careful, offload to the right man.
Conway, though, offloading there out to Worthy on the far side. 10 metres from the halfway line. Gets on and plays the ball. Holiday switches inside. That was the back. The referee gives the knock on. Certainly the player turned in the tackle there, and I think was slapped across the shoulders.
Yeah, he looked at John. Yeah, I don't think it's in Mount Head. He got straight up, you know. But, you know, a referee could have given a penalty for that as easy as anything.
And the referee not observing the touch judges behind the defensive line of the scrum, allowing certainly Dewsbury on that occasion to encroach in that 5-metre line area. Joe Burry doing well to take that ball. It was, and again, Keighley doing well. In fact, is it Dewsbury player that's taken it? He's got to be offside, yes. And a knock on there. Well, I think that just sums everything up. Holiday looking to the bench, asking how much time they've got left. Well, I'll tell you what they've got left. They've got just less than 3 minutes left, I think. 5 minutes, sorry. And they've got 12 points advantage. Dickinson striding away down there. They look slightly forward to Worthy, but referee allowing play to go on as Kelly settles things down. Takes the tackle just inside the Keighley half of the field. Marchant tentatively looks for a hole but can't find it. Holiday switches back inside there. Number 12, Glenn Bell, tackled and loses the ball. It looks as though, in fact, past the ball, Jason Ramshaw, I think, picking the ball up, and the referee penalising Holiday, or penalising somebody there. A fuss for an attempted spear tackle as Marnow gets through. Stevenson steps inside, but good covering back there by the fullback Graham, and assisted by Marchant as the ball goes on to Ayres. Mark Cowden striding through the middle. Joe Burry just being told that Keighley had 10 successive penalties, and it's Gately now striding in. Gately going. Oh, and Gately just held short and the ball lost. I think possibly trying to offload, Dal, when there was nobody to offload to, or that either that or the weight of the tackle and the bounce on the floor took it out of his hands.
Yeah, we're looking to offload there, John. You know, he always does, Ian. Good break and everything else. Had somebody been there, they popped it up. Nobody there. He tried to keep the ball back, but he lost it in the tackle.
Conway gets the ball out, but the referee not satisfied. Out the same way, he says. Conway on to Rambo rather, on the far side. Referee just having a word there, penalising. The referee said he'd called hell. The man got up and tried to restart again. And Kevin Marr just hesitating a bit too long there as Keighley had tried to reform, but Bury going into that 10-metre line. How many times have we seen Keighley hit this 10-metre line this half with no positive result at the end of it? Play on that far side of the field once more. Again, Keighley offloading. A long ball out this side to Brendan Hill. Brendan Hill gets the ball out, but it's Dewsbury that regather. Dewsbury regather on that 10-metre line. So often we've seen Keighley in this 10 area, and so often we've seen Dewsbury able to recover the ball and come away. I think we've got to say, really, Darrell, this half, oh sorry, not this half, this game has been one of absolutely superlative Dewsbury defence, and one or two slight errors in the Keighley defence in the first half, allowing Dewsbury to get those 12 points.
That's it, John, yes, I think it'd have been 0-0. We wouldn't have had many complaints. But two mistakes in the Keighley defence first half, let him in.
Andy Stevenson then following that recovery of the ball by Brendan Hill. Kevin Marr now taking it up. There's 3 minutes left on the running clock for Keighley at least to get a point on the board. A long time since they've been nilled as Joe Bury now searches once more. Almost approaches what seems to be a no-go zone for Keighley, that 10-metre line. Martin Wood feeds Mark Brook-Cowden, but the ball, oh sorry, the man with the ball now, tackled as Jeff Butterfield it was. Andy Ayres throws the dummy, but it's the last tackle. Jason Ramshaw goes for the kick through, but the bobby there in place. It looks like it might have been wingman Darren Rogers in place over that try line, and making sure that not only the Dewsbury try line but the Dewsbury score line stays intact. Dickinson, half offering the ball, half looking to get away, settles for the tackle on the 20-metre line. 12 points to 0, 0-0 in the second half. The game's certainly gone as far as Keighley are concerned, but it would have been nice for a little bit of respectability on the scoreline, but I think that's all down to the tenacity of this Dewsbury defence. Ball going, in fact, bouncing just inside the touchline side. $2,873 come along here to Dewsbury to watch this game today, and I think the bulk of those fans will be going home disappointed as that scrum forms, but fails to reach the satisfaction of Mr. Redfern. Oh, and the Dewsbury fans again at the far side, not happy, but the referee indicates that the Dewsbury hooker or somebody had the feet across in that scrum, and even accusing him of being a cheat.
Well, what you say about this referee? He's been consistent today. I think he's refereed a lot better than what he did last time we had him down here early on in the season against Batley.
Keighley then just inside 12 metres inside the Dewsbury half. Mark Brook-Cowden having to turn after he took that ball. It being almost behind him. As Ayres brings on Marr. Marr switches inside to Phil Stevenson. The big prop, second row comes centre. Brought to ground on that 20-metre line as Ayres gets the ball into Martin Wood. Martin Wood finds Butterfield. Butterfield though tackled. It's the last tackle once more. Martin Wood onto Ayres. Ayres puts the ball in the air. Is it too high? In fact, it wasn't. It was just the hand there of Eddie Rombo getting to it that put the ball into the in-goal area touchline, and it looks as though it's definitely going to be a drop restart underneath those posts, and it's certainly into injury and stoppage time now It looks as though it's 12 points to nil for Dewsbury. And try as they may, Keighley have not been able to pierce this Dewsbury defence this afternoon. They've had one disallowed, or two disallowed, for one on the back and one for a knock on over the line. In fact, two for knocks on over the line. But unless the ball goes down behind that try line, it's no try. And Keighley have been unable to satisfy the referee that they've been able to do that. Gately still trying, still going forward. Certainly been the Keighley man of the match, Darrell, hasn't he, this afternoon?
Certainly has, John. Yeah, he's done a lot of driving, a lot of tackling, a lot of probing. Been outstanding today for Keighley.
I think certainly what might have been short is there's been plenty of movement across the field, hasn't there, from Keighley, but when it came to be needed, there's been nobody running straight and switch.
And the edge is in.
Well, just really what we were saying, the ball moving across, but nobody actually running straight to take it. And as we said, that Andy Ayres does just that. I thought the first one might have been when Martin got it and he might have scored, but Ayres finishing it off.
Yeah, good try that, John, at least still trying, you know. Shows that we haven't given up, Keighley. Even though Dewsbury throwing ball around and wasting a lot of time now. Referee stopping the clock. I don't think it'll matter really. But I think what we missed penetration out wide in the centres. We're not taking out from either Stevensons, you know, but the out centres really. We missed Pinkney and Milner, and it's shown that Batley has got the sliding defence across time and time again. Dewsbury have either got the sliding defence across. You know, they have the pace to do it. They've left the gaps out wide and then closed them down. So we'll have to wait and see.
And I don't think we'll have very long to wait and see, because although the Andy Ayres try is right underneath the post, it's still a long way for another 7 points to give Keighley a victory, and there's nowhere near sufficient time left on the clock. John Walker puts the ball safely through the post, and the hooter comes out of the window, I think. It's ready through the window, so that's going to be the final score line. Is Dewsbury 12, Keighley 6. They're nowhere in a rush, Dewsbury, and quite rightly so. They've got the points in the bag. They've also got the league points in the bag, and we're going to be deafened in a moment. Conway kicks off into the Keighley half of the field, deep onto the try line. The hooter will go, I think, when the tackle's made. That's the end of the game then. The handshakes take place all the way around. A disappointing result for Keighley, but we can't take anything away from Dewsbury. 100% effort in both defence by both sides really. Just those two minor errors in the Keighley defence allowing Dewsbury to get those 12 points in the first half. Final score then, Dewsbury 12, Keighley 6.